The roast beef was dry. I was forcing down another bite, smiling through the boredom of my son's dinner party, when Jamie's hand clamped around my wrist under the table. His fingers were ice cold, shaking. "Grandma," he whispered, leaning so close I could feel his breath on my ear. "Pretend you're sick and leave, right now." My fork clattered against the fine china plate. Everyone looked up. "Mom?" Marcus asked from across the table, his eyebrows raised in that concerned but annoyed way he'd perfected since marrying Lisa. "You okay?" I stared at Jamie. My 12-year-old grandson, the kid who laughed at everything, who never took anything seriously, his face was white as paper. His eyes darted between me and someone at the far end of the table. A stranger, a man I'd never seen before. He was watching me with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. My voice came out weak. Jamie squeezed my wrist harder, urgent. "Play along," his eyes begged. So I did. I clutched my chest and gasped, letting my breath come out ragged. I don't feel well." Lisa shot up from her seat so fast her chair scraped against the hardwood floor. "Eleanor, oh my goodness, what's wrong?" She rushed toward me, all concern and fluttering hands. But something was off. Her eyes were too wide, her voice too high, like an actress who'd rehearsed this scene. "My chest," I managed, putting a tremor in my voice. "It's tight. I think I need air." Marcus was beside me in seconds, his hand on my shoulder. "Mom, let me help you to the car. Lisa, get her purse." No, I can get it myself," I started to say, but Jamie was already pressing my handbag into my hands under the table. He'd planned this. My mind raced. What the hell was going on? The other guests were murmuring, standing, offering to call 911. But I noticed something. The stranger at the end of the table hadn't moved. He just sat there, swirling red wine in his glass, watching me with that cold, empty smile. And then I saw it. The glance. Lisa looked at him. Just for a second, a flash of eye contact that said, "We'll handle this later." My blood turned to ice. "I'm fine," I said, louder now, letting Marcus pull me to my feet. "Just need my medication. It's at home." "I'll drive you," Marcus said. "No." Jamie stood up too, his voice cracking. "I'll go with Grandma. You stay with your guests, Dad." Marcus frowned. "Jamie, sit down. Grandma's sick." "I want to go with her." Jamie's voice rose, almost panicked. The room went quiet. Lisa laughed, that tinkling fake laugh she used when she was trying to smooth over awkwardness. "Sweetheart, Grandma will be fine. Let your dad take care of her." But Jamie didn't sit. He grabbed my other arm, anchoring himself to me. Something was very, very wrong. "It's okay," I said quickly, squeezing Jamie's shoulder. "I've got my car. Marcus, stay with your guests. I'll text you when I get home." "Are you sure?" Marcus looked torn, glancing between me and Lisa. "I'm sure." I started toward the door, Jamie practically dragging me. My heart hammered in my chest, not from fake illness, but from real fear. Every instinct screamed at me to get out of that house. Behind me, I heard chairs scraping, footsteps. "Mrs. Chen." The stranger's voice cut through the room like a blade. I froze, my hand on the doorknob. "Leaving so soon?" His tone was casual, friendly even, but underneath it was something sharp, dangerous. I turned slowly. He was standing now, wine glass still in hand, that smile still plastered on his face. The other guests had gone quiet, watching. "We haven't even discussed your husband's old safe yet." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Henry's safe. My dead husband's safe. How did this man know about that? Marcus looked confused. "Safe? Mom, what's he talking about?" Lisa's face had gone pale. She was staring at the stranger like he'd just broken an unspoken rule. I couldn't breathe. Jamie's hand tightened around mine. "Grandma, go." The stranger took a step forward. "I'm sure it's nothing urgent, but perhaps after you're feeling better, we could have a conversation about what Henry left behind." My mouth was dry. My legs felt weak. But I forced myself to smile, to play the confused old woman. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice shaking not from acting this time. Do I know you? His smile widened. Not yet. But you will. The threat hung in the air like smoke. I yanked the door open and pulled Jamie through it, my pulse roaring in my ears. We stumbled down the front steps into the cold night air. I could hear Marcus calling after me, but I didn't stop. I didn't stop until we reached my car in the driveway. My hands shook so badly I dropped my keys. Jamie picked them up. His face was streaked with tears. "Grandma," he choked out. "Grandma, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to do. I heard them talking before dinner and—" "Get in the car," I whispered. "But—" "Get in the car, Jamie." He climbed into the passenger seat. I slid behind the wheel, jammed the key into the ignition, and locked the doors. Through the windshield, I could see Marcus's front door. It was still open. 3 silhouettes stood framed in the light. Lisa, the stranger, and Marcus. They were talking. The stranger had his hand on my son's shoulder, and Marcus was nodding. I couldn't drive. My hands were shaking so badly the key kept missing the ignition. Once, twice, 3 times. "Grandma, you're scaring me," Jamie whispered beside me. I finally got the key in and started the engine. The dashboard lights cast strange shadows across Jamie's face. He looked younger than 12, terrified. "Talk," I said, my voice hard. "Now, what the hell is going on?" He burst into tears. Jamie, my tough little grandson, who'd broken his arm last year and barely cried, who laughed at horror movies, who thought crying was for babies, he sobbed like his heart was breaking. "I'm sorry," he choked out. "I'm so sorry, Grandma. I didn't know what to do." I reached over and grabbed his shoulder. "Baby, breathe. Just breathe and tell me what you heard." He sucked in a shuddering breath, wiping his face with his sleeve. Before dinner, I was upstairs getting my phone and I heard them talking in Dad's office. Mom and that man. "What man? Who is he?" "I don't know. But he was asking about you, about Grandpa Henry." My chest tightened. "What about Grandpa?" Jamie's voice dropped to barely a whisper. He asked if Grandpa really died of a heart attack. The world tilted. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. "What?" He said there were questions. About the timing, about money that went missing from some company Grandpa worked for. Jamie looked at me with wet, desperate eyes. "Grandma, what money? What's he talking about?" I couldn't answer. My mind was reeling. Henry died 2 years ago. Sudden heart attack. He'd been sitting in his chair, reading the newspaper, and just stopped. The doctors said it happened sometimes. Quick, painless. I'd never questioned it. "What else?" I managed to ask. "The man said you have something Grandpa left you. He called it insurance? And Mom told him," his voice cracked. "Mom told him you keep it hidden somewhere, that you don't trust banks, that you're paranoid about safety deposit boxes." Rage flooded through me, hot and sharp. Lisa. My daughter-in-law, who I'd welcomed into our family, who I'd babysat for, who I'd cooked Thanksgiving dinner for, she'd been telling strangers about me, about Henry. "Did she tell him where I keep it?" I asked. "I don't think she knows. But Grandma," Jamie grabbed my arm. "He said they need to get it. Soon. Before you do something stupid with it." "Stupid like what?" "I don't know." But the way he said it, Jamie's whole body was shaking now. It sounded like a threat, like if you didn't give it to them, something bad would happen. My phone buzzed in my purse. I pulled it out. A text from Marcus. "Mom, are you okay? Please call me." Then another. "We need to talk about Dad's things." Then a third. "Don't do anything stupid." There it was. That word again. Stupid. I looked at Jamie. "What else did you hear?" "Mom said you'd probably give it up if they just asked nice." But the man laughed. He said old ladies like you are stubborn, that they'd need leverage. "Leverage?" Jamie's eyes filled with fresh tears. "Me, Grandma." He said they could use me. Ice water dumped down my spine. "Over my dead body," I whispered. "That's why I warned you," Jamie said, his voice breaking. "I was scared if you stayed, he'd do something, say something. I just wanted you to leave before—" He couldn't finish. I pulled him into a hug, holding him tight while he cried into my shoulder. My mind raced. Henry's safe, the one in our bedroom closet, behind the old winter coats. I hadn't opened it since he died. Hadn't wanted to face his things, his watch, his wallet, whatever papers he'd thought were important enough to lock away. But if someone was asking about it, if someone thought Henry had something worth threatening his family over, a memory hit me like lightning. Henry, 3 weeks before he died, sitting at our kitchen table, his face gray with exhaustion. He'd looked up at me with eyes full of something I'd never seen before. Fear. "Eleanor," he'd said quietly, "if anything happens to me, don't open the safe right away. Wait, make sure you're alone, make sure you're safe." I'd laughed it off, told him he was being dramatic. He'd grabbed my hand, urgent. Promise me, Eleanor." So I'd promised. And then he died, and I'd been so swallowed by grief I'd forgotten all about it. Until now. "Grandma?" Jamie pulled back, looking at me. "What are we gonna do?" I stared through the windshield at Marcus's house. The front door was closed now, but light blazed from every window. I could see shadows moving behind the curtains. My phone buzzed again. "Marcus, Mom, call me." Then another number. Unknown. A text that made my blood run cold. "Mrs. Chen, we really should talk. There's no need for this to get unpleasant." "How does he have my number?" I breathed. Jamie looked at the phone and went pale. "Mom has it in her contacts. They must have." He didn't finish. He didn't have to. I looked back at the house one more time. Through the front window, I could see 3 figures standing in the living room, close together, talking. Lisa, the stranger, and Marcus, my son, my baby boy who I'd raised, who I'd sacrificed everything for, who I'd thought would protect his family the way his father had. He was nodding, listening. His hand was on the stranger's shoulder now, like they were old friends, like they were making a deal. "Grandma," Jamie whispered, "why is Dad talking to him?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because I was realizing something terrible. Marcus knew. Maybe not everything, but enough. Enough to bring this man into our lives. Enough to let him sit at the dinner table. Enough to stand there and discuss me like I was a problem to be solved. My own son. I put the car in reverse. "Where are we going?" Jamie asked. "My apartment," I said. "We're going to open your grandfather's safe." "But what if they follow us?" I looked at him, at his terrified face, at the trust still shining in his eyes despite everything. "Then they're going to find out what kind of woman your grandmother really is." I backed out of the driveway. In the rearview mirror, I saw the front door open. Marcus stepped out onto the porch, his phone pressed to his ear. He was looking right at my car. Our eyes met. And for the first time in my life, I didn't recognize my own son. I broke every speed limit getting to my apartment. Jamie didn't say a word the whole drive. He just sat there, gripping the door handle, watching the side mirror like he expected someone to follow us. Maybe someone would. I pulled into my building's underground parking garage and killed the engine. For a moment, we just sat there in the dark, listening to the tick of the cooling motor. "Grandma," Jamie whispered, "what if Grandpa left something bad?" I looked at him. "Bad how?" "I don't know, but if people are willing to threaten us for it." He swallowed hard. "It must be really important." "Smart kid. Too smart." I squeezed his hand. "Whatever's in that safe, we'll deal with it together. Okay?" He nodded, but he didn't look convinced. We took the elevator to the 4th floor. My hands were still shaking as I unlocked my apartment door. The place was dark and cold. I'd left in a hurry that morning to get to Marcus's on time. A lifetime ago. I flipped on the lights. My little one-bedroom looked exactly the same as always. The worn couch Henry and I had bought 30 years ago. His reading chair in the corner, still bearing the impression of his body. The photos on the walls, Marcus as a baby, Jamie's school pictures, Henry and me on our wedding day. Normal, safe. But nothing felt safe anymore. "Stay here," I told Jamie, heading toward my bedroom. "No way." He followed right behind me. "I'm not leaving you alone." I didn't argue. My bedroom was small and cluttered. Clothes draped over chairs, books stacked on the nightstand. The closet door hung half open, just like I'd left it. I pulled it fully open and stared at the mess inside. Winter coats, old boxes, a vacuum cleaner I never used. And in the back, buried under a pile of Henry's old sweaters I couldn't bring myself to donate. The safe. It was small, gray metal, covered in dust. I pulled it out, grunting with the effort. It was heavier than I remembered. Jamie helped me drag it onto the bed. We both stared at it. "Do you know the combination?" Jamie asked. "Yeah." My voice sounded distant. "It's our anniversary, June 15th, 6:15. My fingers trembled as I spun the dial. Right, left, right again. The lock clicked. I looked at Jamie. He looked at me. "Together," I whispered. We lifted the lid. Inside was papers, a stack of manila folders, some old photographs rubber-banded together, and on top of everything, a USB drive taped to a handwritten note. I picked up the note with shaking hands. Henry's handwriting, messy and slanted, just like always. "Eleanor, if you're reading this, someone came asking questions. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, my love. I never wanted this to touch you, but I needed insurance, and you're the only person in the world I trust. Don't open the USB drive on your home computer. Use a library or internet cafe. Don't tell anyone what you find. Not Marcus, not anyone. Trust no one, not even Marcus. I love you. Protect yourself. Protect Jamie. Henry." The paper slipped from my fingers. "Not even Marcus," I whispered. He knew. Even then he knew. Jamie grabbed the note, reading it quickly. His face went white. Grandpa thought Dad would. I don't know what he thought, but my voice was hollow. I picked up the USB drive. It was small and black, the kind you could buy at any office supply store, but the weight of it in my palm felt like holding a grenade. Jamie reached for the photographs. "Can I?" "Go ahead." He pulled off the rubber band and started flipping through them. His expression changed from curious to confused to horrified. Grandma, this is..." He thrust a photo at me. I looked. It was taken at some kind of restaurant or country club. Dim lighting, expensive suits. 5 men sitting around a table, glasses of whiskey in front of them. I recognized one immediately. Lisa's father, Daniel. I'd met him at the wedding. But the others? "That's the man from dinner," Jamie said, pointing at another face. "The one who talked to you." I looked closer. He was younger in the photo, hair darker, but it was definitely him. Same cold smile. "Who are the others?" Jamie asked. I didn't know. But I flipped to the next photo. Same men, different location. This time standing outside a building, shaking hands. The date stamp in the corner read 15 years ago. The next photo, money. Stacks of cash spread across a table like someone was counting it. The next, documents. Spreadsheets, numbers I didn't understand. "Jesus," I breathed. Jamie was going through the folders now, pulling out papers, bank statements, transaction records, names and dates highlighted in yellow marker. "Grandma, these are..." He looked up at me, eyes huge. "These look like crimes. Put them down." "But..." "Put them down, Jamie." He dropped the papers like they were on fire. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. "Marcus, Mom, where are you?" Then, "We need to talk. This is important." Then, "Lisa's father wants to help. He knows about Dad's work. He can protect you." I almost laughed. "Protect me." Another text, from the unknown number. "Mrs. Chen, let's not make this difficult. Your husband took something that doesn't belong to him. We just want it back." My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone. "Grandma." Jamie's voice was small. "What do we do?" I looked at the safe, at the evidence spilled across my bed, at Henry's note lying on the floor. "Trust no one, not even Marcus." "God, Henry, what did you do?" We need to see what's on that USB drive, I said. You think it's safe? No. But we don't have a choice. I grabbed my laptop from the living room and brought it back to the bedroom. Jamie watched, chewing his thumbnail, a habit he'd had since he was 5. Grandpa said not to use your home computer, he reminded me. I know, but we need to know what we're dealing with. I plugged in the USB drive. The laptop whirred. A folder popped up on screen. Inside, dozens of files, spreadsheets, PDFs, and one video file labeled simply, Eleanor, watch this first, MP4. My cursor hovered over it. Do it, Jamie whispered. I double-clicked. The video player opened, buffering. Then, Henry's face filled the screen. My husband, my Henry, looking gaunt and exhausted, sitting in his office at our old house. The date stamp in the corner read 3 months before he died. His voice came through the speakers, quiet and afraid. Eleanor, if you're watching this, then they know. And they're coming for you. I couldn't breathe. Henry leaned closer to the camera, his eyes red-rimmed and desperate. 20 years ago, I saw something at the firm. My boss, Daniel Morrison, and his partners, they were laundering money. Millions of dollars through shell companies, fake charities, offshore accounts. I documented everything. I thought about going to the police, but they threatened me. Told me if I talked, they'd hurt you. Hurt Marcus. My hand flew to my mouth. So I kept quiet. I played along. I even helped them. God forgive me. Henry's voice cracked. But I kept records, insurance, because I knew someday they'd try to tie up loose ends. On screen, Henry wiped his eyes. 3 weeks ago, Daniel came to my office. He knows I have evidence. He wants it destroyed. He gave me an ultimatum: hand it over, or there'd be consequences. He looked directly at the camera. At me. Eleanor, I don't know if I'll survive this. They're watching me, following me. Last night, someone broke into the house while you were asleep. They didn't take anything. They were sending a message. My blood ran cold. If you're watching this, I'm gone. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Tears streamed down Henry's face. Don't trust Daniel. Don't trust his people. And Eleanor. His voice dropped to a whisper. Don't trust Marcus. He married into the family. By now, Lisa's gotten to him. He'll have to choose between you and them. And I don't know which way he'll go. The video ended. The screen went black. Jamie and I sat in complete silence. Then my phone rang, shattering the quiet. Marcus's name flashed on the screen. I stared at it, my father-in-law's warning echoing in my head. Don't trust Marcus. The phone kept ringing. Grandma! Jamie's voice shook. What do we do? I looked at the evidence spread across my bed. At Henry's face frozen on my laptop screen. At the truth my dead husband had died protecting. The phone rang one more time. Then stopped. A second later, a text came through. Mom, I'm on my way to your apartment. We need to talk. Don't do anything stupid. I'll be there in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I stared at Marcus's text, my heart hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. He's coming here, Jamie whispered. Dad's coming. I looked at the bed, evidence everywhere. The USB drive still plugged into my laptop. Henry's face frozen on the screen, mid-warning. Don't trust Marcus. Help me, I said, already moving. We scrambled. I shoved the folders back into the safe. Jamie grabbed the photographs, hands shaking so badly he dropped half of them. We scooped them up together, stuffing everything back inside. The USB drive, Jamie said. Grandma, we need to copy it. He was right. Smart kid. I yanked the drive from my laptop and thrust it at him. Go to the kitchen. My spare laptop is in the drawer by the fridge. Copy everything. Fast. He ran. I dragged the safe back to the closet, buried it under Henry's sweaters, and kicked the closet door shut. My hands were trembling. My breath came in short gasps. Calm down. Calm down. But I couldn't. Because my son, my baby, who I'd rocked to sleep, who I'd taught to ride a bike, who I'd sent off to college with tears in my eyes, was on his way here to do what? Convince me to hand over evidence? Threaten me? Hurt me? No. No, Marcus wouldn't. But the video played in my head on repeat. Henry's hollow eyes, his broken voice. They threatened me. Told me if I talked, they'd hurt you. Hurt Marcus. What if they'd gotten to Marcus? What if he wasn't coming here as my son, but as their messenger? Grandma! Jamie's voice cracked from the kitchen. It's copying, but it's slow. There's like hundreds of files. I rushed into the kitchen. He had my old laptop open on the counter, a progress bar crawling across the screen. 15%. 20. How long? I asked. Maybe 5 minutes? We didn't have 5 minutes. My phone buzzed. Marcus, 10 minutes away. Have Lisa's father on the line. He wants to talk to you. My stomach twisted. Another text. Mom, please. This doesn't have to be ugly. Just listen to what he has to say. Grandma, look. Jamie pointed at the laptop screen. The files were copying, names scrolling past, but one folder had opened automatically. Inside were more documents, transaction records, account numbers, and a list of names. I leaned closer, scanning them. Daniel Morrison, Lisa's father. Richard Chen, Henry's old boss, dead 5 years now. Thomas Brennan. I didn't know that name. And then, Marcus Chen. My blood turned to ice. No, I whispered. Jamie saw it too. Dad's name is on there. What does that mean? I clicked on the file. A PDF opened. It was a bank statement, an offshore account in Marcus's name. Transactions dating back 3 years. Deposits. Huge deposits. Tens of thousands of dollars, filtering in every few months. This can't be right, I said. Marcus doesn't have this kind of money. We'd know. Lisa would. I stopped. Lisa would know. Of course she would. Look at the dates, Jamie said quietly, pointing. I looked. The deposit started exactly 1 month after Marcus married Lisa. Oh God, I breathed. Jamie's face was white. They paid him. They've been paying him. We don't know that. This could be Grandma. Jamie looked at me with eyes too old for 12. Grandpa knew. That's why he said not to trust Dad. He knew. The laptop beeped. Copy complete. Jamie yanked out the USB drive and handed me both the original and the copy. Hide them. Different places. My hands moved on autopilot. Original in my purse. Copy where? I looked around frantically. The kitchen was small, nowhere good to hide anything. Give it to me, Jamie said. What? They're not looking at me. They're looking at you. He held out his hand. I'll keep it safe. I stared at my grandson. At this brave, terrified child who'd warned me at dinner, who'd run to my car in the dark, who was standing here now asking to carry a target on his back. Jamie. Grandma, we don't have time. He was right. I pressed the USB drive into his palm. Put it in your shoe, under the insole. He nodded and dropped to the floor, yanking off his sneaker. A knock at the door made us both freeze. 3 sharp raps. Then Marcus's voice. Mom, you in there? Open up. Jamie looked at me. Drive in one hand, shoe in the other. Bathroom, I mouthed. Go. He ran, silent as a ghost. I took a breath, smoothed my hair, tried to make my face look normal. Then I opened the door. Marcus stood in the hallway, phone in hand, expression tight with worry. Behind him, the stranger from dinner, and a woman I didn't recognize. Sharp suit, cold eyes. Mom. Marcus stepped forward like he wanted to hug me, but I moved back instinctively. His face fell. We need to talk, he said quietly. Who are they? I looked past him at the strangers. The man from dinner smiled. Mrs. Chen, I'm afraid we got off on the wrong foot earlier. My name is Thomas Brennan. I worked with your husband. Thomas Brennan, the name from the list. And I'm Jennifer Cade, the woman said, her voice crisp and professional. I represent the Morrison family's legal interests. Translation: Lisa's family's lawyer. Can we come in? Marcus asked. Every instinct screamed no, But if I refused, if I made this confrontational, they'd know I knew something. I stepped aside. They filed into my tiny living room. Marcus looked around like he was seeing it for the first time, the worn furniture, the cluttered shelves, his father's chair. His eyes lingered on that chair. Something flickered across his face. Guilt? Pain? "Where's Jamie?" he asked suddenly. "Bathroom," I said. My voice came out steadier than I felt. Thomas Brennan sat on my couch without asking, making himself comfortable. The lawyer remained standing, her eyes scanning the apartment like she was cataloging everything. "Mrs. Chen," Brennan began, his tone gentle, patronizing. "I know this evening has been confusing for you, frightening even. That wasn't our intention." "Then what was your intention?" I asked. "To have a conversation, a private one, but your grandson got spooked." He smiled. "Kids, right? They hear things, misunderstand, and suddenly everyone's panicking." He didn't misunderstand anything. The smile faltered. "I'm sorry?" "He heard you talking about my husband, about money, about a safe." I crossed my arms. "So let's stop pretending this is a friendly visit. What do you want?" Marcus stepped forward. "Mom, please, just listen." "I'm listening. To you threaten your own mother in her home." He flinched, like I'd slapped him. "No one's threatening anyone," Jennifer Cade said smoothly. "We're here to offer help. Your husband, Mrs. Chen, took certain documents from his employer before he passed, documents that legally belong to the Morrison Group. Henry retired. He didn't steal anything." "That's debatable." Brennan leaned forward, his friendly mask slipping. "Your husband documented private business dealings, confidential information. He had no right to keep those records. Maybe he kept them for a reason." The room went very quiet. Brennan's eyes narrowed. "Have you opened his safe, Mrs. Chen?" I didn't answer. "Mom," Marcus said, and now his voice was pleading. "Dad was sick at the end, paranoid. He thought people were after him, remember? He wasn't thinking straight. Whatever he left you, it's not what you think." "And what do I think?" "That he was protecting you." Marcus's voice cracked. "But he wasn't. He was putting you in danger. These documents, if they get out, people go to prison. Important people. And they'll do anything to prevent that." "Is that a threat?" "It's a warning." Jennifer Cade stepped closer. "Mrs. Chen, we're prepared to offer you substantial compensation for your husband's materials, enough to live very comfortably, enough to set up a trust for your grandson's education. All we need is the safe's contents and your assurance that you've made no copies." "And if I refuse?" Brennan stood. The friendly mask was completely gone now. "Then we'll be forced to take legal action. We'll file a civil suit claiming theft of proprietary information. We'll tie you up in court for years, drain your savings, drag Henry's name through the mud." He paused. "And we'll make sure Marcus loses everything. His job, his home, his son." My heart stopped. I looked at Marcus. At my son, standing there with his head bowed, not contradicting any of it. "You'd let them do that?" I whispered. "You'd let them destroy your own mother?" He looked up. His eyes were red. "I don't have a choice, Mom. They have evidence that I—" He stopped. "That I knew about Dad's records, that I helped hide them. If this goes public, I'm complicit. I could go to prison." "You are complicit." The words came out before I could stop them. "You've been taking their money for 3 years." The room froze. Marcus's face went white. "How did you—" "Does it matter?" My voice shook with rage, with betrayal. "Your father died protecting evidence of crimes, and you've been on their payroll the whole time. What did they pay you for, Marcus? To spy on me? To make sure I stayed quiet?" "Mom, was Lisa in on it from the beginning? Did she marry you just to get close to our family?" "Stop it. Was your whole life a lie?" "Yes!" Marcus shouted, and the word echoed in my small apartment like a gunshot. Silence. He was crying now, openly, his whole body shaking. "Yes," he said again, quieter, broken. "Lisa knew who I was when we met. Her father wanted someone inside Henry's life, someone who could watch him, make sure he didn't talk." The floor seemed to drop out from under me. And you? I whispered. Did you know? Not at first. His voice was barely audible. I loved her, Mom. I really did. But by the time I figured it out, it was too late. Jamie was born, and they had leverage, and I. He looked at me with eyes full of shame. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The bathroom door opened. Jamie stood there, face streaked with tears. He'd heard everything. Dad? His voice was so small, so hurt. Marcus took a step toward him. Jamie, son, please. You sold out Grandma. For money. Jamie's hands were fists at his sides. Grandpa died because of you. No. You killed him. That's enough, Brennan snapped. He turned to me. Mrs. Chen, this has gone on long enough. Where is the safe? I looked at him. At Jennifer Cade. At my son, who'd betrayed everything our family stood for. And I smiled. You really think I'm going to tell you? Brennan's face darkened. I'm trying to be reasonable. Get out of my house. Mrs. Chen. Get out. Jennifer Cade stepped forward, her hand reaching into her jacket pocket, and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Then, I'm afraid we'll have to do this the hard way. She handed it to me. I opened it with shaking hands. It was a court order, demanding I surrender all materials related to Henry Chen's employment, effective immediately. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the police, Cade said. 9 a.m. sharp. If you don't cooperate, you'll be arrested for obstruction of justice. She headed for the door. Brennan followed. Marcus stayed frozen, looking between me and Jamie. Mom, he whispered, please, they'll destroy us. I looked at my son, at the man I'd raised to be honest, strong, good. They already did, I said. He flinched, then turned and walked out. The door closed. Jamie ran to me, and I caught him, holding him while he sobbed into my shoulder. What do we do? He choked out. Grandma, what do we do? I looked at my phone, at the messages still coming through. Threats, warnings, deadlines. Then at the purse on my counter, the USB drive hidden inside. At Henry's evidence, Henry's insurance, Henry's final gift. And I realized something. They weren't trying to protect themselves. They were terrified. Because somewhere in those files was something so damaging, so explosive, that they'd threatened an old woman and her grandson to keep it hidden. I pulled back and looked at Jamie, wiped his tears. We're going to do what your grandfather wanted, I said quietly. We're going to fight back. We had until 9 a.m. 14 hours. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the USB drive like it might explode. Jamie was next to me, silent and hollow-eyed. Neither of us had slept. We should run, he said finally. Get in the car and just go. They'd find us. Then we call the police. I laughed bitterly. And tell them what? That my son's in-laws are threatening me? They have a court order, Jamie. Legal paperwork. They've covered their tracks. So we just give up? No. I picked up the USB drive. We figure out what Henry wanted us to do with this. I opened my laptop and plugged it back in. The files loaded. Dozens of them, hundreds. Where to even start? Jamie pulled his chair closer. Grandpa said to watch that video first. Maybe there's more? He was right. I scrolled through the files. Most were labeled with dates and account numbers, but at the bottom, another video file. Eleanor, Part 2, MP4. My hand hesitated over the mouse. Play it, Jamie whispered. I clicked. Henry's face appeared again. Same office. But this recording was different. His expression was harder. Determined. Eleanor, if you're watching this, you've seen the evidence. You know what Daniel Morrison and his partners did. 20 years of money laundering, shell corporations, fraud, millions stolen from pension funds, from charities, from people who trusted them. He leaned closer to the camera. But that's not the worst part. My blood went cold. 3 years ago, they expanded. Started working with people overseas, dangerous people, arms dealers, human traffickers. Henry's voice shook. I found the accounts, Eleanor. I found proof they're moving money for criminal organizations. Not just white-collar crime anymore. Real violence, real victims. Oh God. I tried to go to the FBI. Got as far as scheduling a meeting, but someone found out. They sent a message. Henry pulled up his shirt. A massive bruise covered his ribs, purple and black and angry. They said next time, it wouldn't be me. It would be you, or Marcus, or Jamie. Jamie grabbed my hand, squeezing tight. So I backed off, kept my head down. But I didn't destroy the evidence. I couldn't. Henry's eyes filled with tears. Because somewhere out there, people are suffering because of money these men moved, and I'm complicit, Eleanor. I helped them. God forgive me. I helped them because I was scared. He wiped his face roughly. If you're watching this, I'm gone. Which means you're free to do what I couldn't. Take this to the authorities. To the FBI, not local police, they might be compromised. There's a field office downtown. Ask for Agent Sarah Reeves. I spoke to her once, before they threatened me. She'll know what to do. Agent Sarah Reeves. I grabbed a pen and wrote it down. But Eleanor, Henry's voice dropped. Be careful. Marcus is married into this family now. He has a son with Lisa. They'll use that against him. Use Jamie as leverage. He'll have to choose between protecting his child and doing what's right. A sob caught in my throat. I don't know which way he'll choose, Henry said quietly. I want to believe I raised him better. But fear makes people do terrible things. I should know. He looked directly at the camera. At me. I love you, Eleanor. I'm sorry I left you with this burden. But you're stronger than you know. You always have been. Do what's right. Protect Jamie. And if Marcus chooses wrong, his voice broke. Forgive him. He's just a scared father trying to protect his son, like I was. The video ended. The apartment was silent, except for Jamie's quiet crying. I sat there, numb, processing. Henry had tried to do the right thing, and they'd beaten him, threatened his family, driven him into silence. And 3 weeks later, he died of a heart attack. Grandma, Jamie whispered, you don't think they... I don't know. But my voice was hollow, because I was thinking it too. My phone buzzed, making us both jump. Marcus. Mom, please. We need to talk, just you and me. Then, I know you hate me right now, I deserve it. But let me explain. Then, I'm downstairs, please let me up. I stood so fast my chair tipped over. He's here? Jamie's voice went high with panic. I ran to the window and looked down at the parking lot. Marcus's car was there, parked under a streetlight. I could see him sitting in the driver's seat, phone in hand. Alone. Should we let him in? Jamie asked. Everything in me screamed no. My son had betrayed us, sold us out, worked with the people who'd threatened Henry, who'd maybe even... But he was still my son. And Henry's last words echoed in my head. Forgive him. He's just a scared father. Stay in the bedroom, I told Jamie. Keep the door cracked. If anything happens, you run. Don't argue, don't wait for me. Just run. Grandma, promise me. He nodded, tears streaming down his face. I watched him disappear into the bedroom, then took a breath and texted Marcus. Come up, alone. If anyone's with you, I call the police. His response was immediate. Just me, I swear. 2 minutes later, a knock at the door. I looked through the peephole. Marcus stood there, alone, looking like he'd aged 10 years. His eyes were red and swollen, his clothes rumpled. I opened the door but kept the chain on. Hi, Mom, he said quietly. Say what you came to say. Can I come in? No. He flinched but nodded. Okay, I understand. He ran a hand through his hair. I don't know where to start. Try the truth. The truth is I'm a coward. His voice cracked. Lisa's father approached me 6 months after we got married, said Dad had been stealing from the company, that he had evidence that could send Dad to prison, but they were willing to let it go if we kept an eye on him, made sure he didn't do anything stupid. And you believed him? I didn't know what to believe. Daniel showed me documents, account numbers, transfers Dad had made. It looked real, Mom. It looked like Dad was guilty. So you spied on your own father. Marcus's face crumpled. At first, I just reported back. Whether Dad seemed nervous, whether he was meeting with anyone unusual, it felt harmless, like I was protecting him from his own paranoia. When did you know that Daniel was lying? Marcus leaned against the doorframe. About a year ago, I overheard a call, Daniel talking to someone about cleaning up loose ends, about making sure Dad's evidence never saw daylight. That's when I realized that they were criminals. Yes, and you stayed quiet. I had Jamie. Marcus's voice rose desperately. They made it clear if I didn't cooperate, if I went to the police, Lisa would take Jamie and disappear. Her family has money, connections. I'd never see my son again. So you chose him over Henry. I chose my child over everything. Tears streamed down Marcus's face. Wouldn't you have done the same? Wouldn't you have protected me no matter what it cost? The question hit like a bullet. Because, yes, God help me, yes, I would have. Did you know they were going to kill him? I whispered. Marcus went white. What? Your father. His heart attack. Did you know? No. No, Mom, I swear, I didn't. He grabbed the doorframe like his legs might give out. You think they murdered him? He was documenting their crimes. He was about to go to the FBI. And then he conveniently died. My voice shook. You tell me. Marcus slid down the wall, sitting on the floor in my hallway, head in his hands. Oh God, he breathed. Oh God, what have I done? For a moment, he was 5 years old again. A little boy who'd broken something and didn't know how to fix it. My baby. But he wasn't a baby anymore. He was a man who'd made choices. Terrible choices. Why are you here, Marcus? I asked. He looked up at me with devastated eyes. To tell you to run. Take Jamie and disappear. Tonight. Right now. I blinked. What? Daniel and Brennan are coming at 9 a.m., but they're lying. They're coming earlier, maybe 5, 6 a.m. They're going to search this place, take everything, and if you resist. His voice broke. Mom, these aren't just white-collar criminals anymore. They're connected to people who hurt people. I heard Daniel on the phone tonight. He said you were a liability that needed handling. Ice flooded my veins. They're going to kill me. I don't know, maybe just scare you. But maybe, Marcus couldn't finish. And you came to warn me. I'm still your son, he whispered. Even after everything. I'm still your son, and I can't let them hurt you. What about Jamie? Take him with you. Get on a bus, a train, anything. Get out of the city. I'll tell them you were already gone when I got here. They'll know you warned me. I don't care anymore. Marcus's voice was hollow. Let them come after me. I deserve it. From the bedroom I heard a sound, a sob. Jamie. Marcus's head snapped up. He's here? Mom, you need to get him out. I know. Then why are you still standing here? Marcus stood, frantic now. Pack a bag. Take the cash from Dad's office drawer. I know you kept it. Just go. I looked at my son, at the fear and guilt and love warring on his face. And I made a decision. I'm not running. Mom, your father left me evidence for a reason. He wanted me to finish what he started. I pulled the chain off and opened the door fully. And I'm going to. Marcus stared at me. You'll get yourself killed. Maybe. But I'll die doing the right thing. That's more than Henry got to do. I stepped closer. More than you get to do. He flinched like I'd struck him. You want to help? I asked. Really help? Yes. Anything. Then tell me everything. Every name, every account, every crime you know about. And then you're going to drive to the FBI field office and turn yourself in. Tell them everything. Cooperate fully. They'll put me in prison. Probably. I'll lose Jamie. Maybe. But at least you'll be able to look him in the eye someday and say you tried to make it right. Marcus's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, and his face went gray. What? I asked. He showed me the screen. A text from Lisa. Where are you? Daniel's asking. Don't do anything stupid. Then another. Marcus, please. Think about Jamie. Think about us. Then a third. If you betray us, you'll never see your son again. I mean it. Marcus looked at me. At the phone. At the bedroom door where Jamie was hiding. "Mom," he whispered, "I don't know if I'm strong enough." "You are." "How do you know?" "Because you're here." I put my hand on his shoulder. "You came to warn me, even knowing what it might cost." That took courage. "It's not enough." "It's a start." His phone buzzed again. Another text from Lisa. "Dad's on his way to Eleanor's. He'll be there in 20 minutes. Get out of there. Now." We both froze. 20 minutes, Marcus breathed. The bedroom door opened. Jamie stood there, face pale, but jaw set. "Then we need to move," he said. Marcus looked at his son. "Jamie, I'm so sorry." "Save it, Dad." Jamie's voice was hard, cold. "You want to help? Then help. Otherwise, get out of the way." My 12-year-old grandson walked past his father, grabbed my purse off the counter, and pulled out the USB drive. "We're taking this to the FBI. Tonight. Right now." He looked at Marcus. "You coming?" Marcus stared at him. At this brave, angry child he'd failed. And something changed in my son's face. Something hardened. "Yeah," Marcus said quietly. "Yeah, I'm coming." He pulled out his phone and made a call. "Who are you calling?" I asked. He held up one finger. Then, "Agent Reeves? My name is Marcus Chen. My father was Henry Chen." "Yes, that Henry Chen. I need to come in, tonight. I have information about Daniel Morrison and the Morrison Group. No, I can't wait until morning. They're coming for my mother. 20 minutes, maybe less." Okay, we're coming now." He hung up and looked at us. "She's waiting. FBI field office downtown," she said, to come to the underground parking entrance. "She'll meet us there." "Will she protect us?" Jamie asked. "She said if what I'm saying is true, we'll all be in protective custody within the hour." "And if it's not true?" I asked. Marcus met my eyes. "Then we're all going to prison for wasting federal time during a fake emergency. That's a risk I'm willing to take." "Me too," Jamie said. I grabbed my coat. "Let's go." We ran. Down the stairs faster than the elevator, through the lobby, into the parking garage. Marcus's car was closest. We piled in, Jamie in the back, me in the passenger seat. Marcus started the engine, and headlights flared at the garage entrance. A black SUV pulled in, blocking the exit. We all froze. The SUV's doors opened. Daniel Morrison stepped out. Then Thomas Brennan, then two other men I didn't recognize. Big men, with guns holstered at their sides. "Mom," Marcus whispered, "what do we do?" I looked at my son, at my grandson, at the USB drive clutched in Jamie's hand, at the evidence that could save or destroy us. Daniel walked toward the car, smiling that cold smile. And I realized we were out of time. "Drive," I said. "They're blocking the exit," Marcus whispered. "Then go through them." His head whipped toward me. "Mom!" "Drive!" Marcus slammed the gas pedal. The car lurched forward. Daniel dove out of the way, his smile vanishing. The two armed men reached for their weapons. But we weren't heading for the exit. Marcus yanked the wheel hard, tires squealing as we swerved toward the back of the garage. Another exit, the one that led to the alley behind the building. "Hold on!" Marcus shouted. We crashed through the emergency gate. Metal shrieked, glass shattered. Then we were in the alley, Marcus flooring it toward the street. Behind us, the SUV's engine roared to life. "They're following!" Jamie screamed. I twisted in my seat. The SUV burst through the broken gate, headlights blazing. Marcus ran a red light, horns blaring around us. He took a hard right, then a left, weaving through late-night traffic. "Where's the FBI office?" I shouted. "Downtown. Maybe 10 minutes if we don't get pulled over or killed." The SUV was gaining. Bigger engine, heavier, built for pursuit. Marcus took another turn, nearly sideswiping a parked car. We were in a residential area now, dark, quiet, no witnesses. Bad place to be. "Call Agent Reeves," I told Marcus. "Tell her we're coming in hot." He fumbled for his phone one-handed, nearly dropping it. I grabbed it and dialed the last number. It rang once, twice. Marcus? Agent Reeves's voice. Professional, alert. This is his mother. We're being chased. Black SUV. Armed men. We have the evidence, but they're trying to stop us from... The SUV rammed us from behind. The phone flew from my hand. Jamie screamed. Marcus fought the wheel, keeping us from spinning out. Everyone okay? Marcus gasped. Just drive, I shouted. He blew through a stop sign. The SUV stayed right on us, close enough I could see Daniel's face in the passenger seat. He was on the phone, talking fast, pointing. More help coming? Police on his payroll? We had to reach the FBI. Fast. Marcus took another turn. We were heading downtown now, buildings getting taller, traffic getting heavier even at this hour. Good. Witnesses. Cameras. Safety in numbers. The SUV fell back slightly. Couldn't risk being too obvious in public. We're close, Marcus said. 3 more blocks. Jamie was crying in the back seat, clutching the USB drive like a lifeline. 2 blocks. I could see it. A tall federal building, concrete and glass and American flags. 1 block. The SUV surged forward, trying to cut us off. Marcus accelerated. Come on, come on. We screeched into the underground parking entrance, a security gate, a guardhouse. A woman in an FBI jacket stepped out, hand raised. Agent Reeves. Marcus slammed the brakes. We stopped inches from the gate. The SUV stopped behind us, trapped, nowhere to go. Agent Reeves walked to Marcus's window. She was 40-something, sharp-eyed, with a weapon holstered at her hip. Marcus Chen? She asked. Yes, that's me. She looked past him at me, at Jamie, then at the SUV behind us. Those the men pursuing you? Yes. She spoke into a radio on her shoulder. I need backup at the entrance. Now. Possible hostile actors. Within seconds, 3 more agents appeared. Armed, moving fast. They surrounded the SUV. I watched through the rear window as Daniel's door opened. He stepped out, hands raised, that politician's smile on his face. Officers, thank God you're here. These people stole. Sir, stay where you are, one of the agents commanded. I'm Daniel Morrison. My lawyer has a court order for property these people. Sir, stay. Where you are. Daniel's smile froze. Agent Reeves opened Marcus's door. All of you, come with me, quickly. We scrambled out. Jamie clutched my hand. Marcus stayed close. Reeves led us through the security gate, into the building. The fluorescent lights were harsh after the darkness outside. My legs were shaking so badly I could barely walk. What about them? Marcus asked, looking back at Daniel and his men. My team will handle it. Reeves guided us into an elevator. Right now, you need to tell me what you have. Fast. The elevator doors closed. Jamie held up the USB drive with a trembling hand. Everything. We have everything. The interrogation room was small and cold. Not really an interrogation room, Reeves called it a conference room, but it felt the same. Metal table, uncomfortable chairs, a camera in the corner. She'd separated us at first. Marcus in one room, me and Jamie in another. But after 20 minutes of me refusing to answer questions without my grandson present, she'd given in and brought us together. Now we sat side by side, exhausted and terrified, while Agent Reeves plugged the USB drive into a laptop. Talk me through what I'm about to see, she said. I told her everything. Henry's video, the documents, the offshore accounts, the names. Reeves's expression never changed, but I saw her fingers tighten on the edge of the laptop. And you're certain these are authentic? She asked. My husband was an accountant. He knew how to document everything. When did he record these videos? 3 months before he died. Of a heart attack. I leaned forward. Except now I don't think it was a heart attack. Reeves looked up sharply. You're suggesting... I'm suggesting my husband was about to turn in evidence against Daniel Morrison and his associates. And then he suddenly died. You tell me. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, I'll need to bring in our medical examiner, review the autopsy report. There wasn't one. It was ruled natural causes, No investigation. Who was the attending physician? Dr. Richard Brennan. Reeves's eyebrows rose. Related to Thomas Brennan? His brother. Jesus. She turned to Marcus. And you? How deep are you in this? Marcus's voice was hollow. I took money, spied on my father, kept quiet when I should have spoken up. But I didn't know about any violence. I swear, I thought it was just financial crimes. Just financial crimes, Reeves repeated flatly. I know how that sounds. Do you know what these accounts funded? She pulled up a file on the laptop. Arms shipments to conflict zones, human trafficking routes, drug cartels. Your father-in-law and his partners weren't just embezzling, Mr. Chen. They were facilitating international crime. The room went silent. Jamie's hand found mine under the table. How many people are involved? I asked quietly. Based on what I'm seeing here? Dozens, maybe more. Politicians, judges, police officials. Reeves scrolled through the files, her face grim. Your husband documented a criminal enterprise that spans 2 decades and multiple countries. This is massive. Can you protect us? Marcus asked. I can try. But if this information is as damaging as it appears, there are going to be a lot of powerful people who want you silenced. They already tried, I said. We barely made it here. Reeves stood. I'm putting you in protective custody, all 3 of you. You'll be moved to a safe house within the hour. No contact with anyone outside, no phones, no internet. Complete lockdown until we can verify this evidence and make arrests. For how long? Jamie whispered. As long as it takes. What about Lisa? Marcus asked suddenly. My wife. Is she? Your wife is the daughter of one of the primary suspects. She'll be questioned, potentially arrested if we find evidence of her involvement. Marcus closed his eyes. She didn't know. Not at first. But she does now? He didn't answer. Reeves gathered the laptop and USB drive. Wait here. I'll have agents come get you in 10 minutes. Don't leave this room. Don't talk to anyone. She left. The door clicked shut. We sat in silence. Then Jamie started crying. Not loud, dramatic sobs, just quiet tears running down his face. I'm scared, Grandma. I pulled him close. I know, baby, I know. What if they find us? What if the safe house isn't safe? We'll be okay. You don't know that. He was right. I didn't. Marcus was staring at the table, his face gray. I destroyed everything. My marriage, my family, my life. You did the right thing in the end, I said. Did I? Or did I just do the only thing left when every other option ran out? I didn't have an answer for that. The door opened. But it wasn't Agent Reeves. It was another agent. Male. Younger. With a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Mr. Chen? Mrs. Chen? If you'll come with me, we're ready to transport you. Something felt wrong. Where's Agent Reeves? I asked. Taking care of the men outside. She asked me to get you settled. Marcus stood. Okay, thank you. But I didn't move. The agent's smile tightened. Ma'am, we need to go. Now. What's your name? I asked. Agent Cole. Agent Reeves didn't mention you. She wouldn't have time to mention every agent on duty. He stepped into the room. His hand drifted toward his belt. Toward his weapon. Grandma, Jamie whispered. Something's wrong. The agent's smile vanished. Smart kid, he said quietly, and pulled his gun. Marcus lunged forward, shouting. The agent swung the weapon toward him. I grabbed Jamie and dove under the table. A gunshot. Deafening in the small room. Someone screamed. The door burst open. Real agents poured in, weapons drawn, shouting commands. Agent Cole went down, tackled by 2 men. And Marcus. Marcus was on the floor, clutching his shoulder, blood seeping between his fingers. Dad! Jamie scrambled toward him. Agent Reeves appeared, taking in the scene with sharp, furious eyes. Get medical, now, and find out how the hell a dirty agent got into my building. She knelt beside Marcus. Stay with me, Mr. Chen. You're going to be okay. But Marcus was looking at Jamie, at his son, crying and terrified. I'm sorry, Marcus gasped. Jamie, I'm so sorry for everything. Don't talk, Reeves ordered. Save your strength. Paramedics rushed in. They loaded Marcus onto a stretcher. Jamie tried to follow, but an agent held him back. We'll take care of him, the agent said gently. But you need to stay here. That's my dad. I know, but it's not safe. They wheeled Marcus away. Agent Reeves turned to me, her face hard. This building is compromised. We need to move you. Now. How did he get in here? I demanded. How did they? I don't know. But we're going to find out. She grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the door. Another agent scooped up Jamie. We ran through corridors, downstairs, into an underground garage different from the entrance we'd used. A black sedan waited, engine running. Get in, Reeves ordered. We climbed into the back seat. Reeves got in front, another agent at the wheel. We peeled out, tires squealing. Through the rear window, I saw more agents swarming the building, red and blue lights flashing. Chaos. Where are we going? I asked. Somewhere they can't reach you. You said that about the FBI building. Reeves looked back at me. Her eyes were hard, angry. Mrs. Chen, in the last hour, I've learned that this case involves potentially hundreds of corrupt officials across multiple agencies. I don't know who I can trust, which means you can't trust anyone. Not the police, not federal agents, not anyone. Except you? Except me. Because I'm the one Henry contacted 2 years ago. I'm the one he trusted with his suspicions before they scared him into silence. And I'll be damned if I let his killers win now. Jamie grabbed my hand. What about my dad? He's being transported to a secure medical facility. We'll keep him safe. Promise? Reeves hesitated. Then, I promise I'll try. It wasn't reassuring, but it was all we had. We drove through the city, streetlights blurring past. I had no idea where we were going. And for the first time, I wondered if we'd made the right choice. If turning in the evidence would save us. Or destroy us. The safe house was a lie. Not the building itself that was real enough. A run-down motel on the edge of the city, the kind with peeling paint and flickering neon signs that promised hourly rates. The lie was that we'd be safe here. Agent Reeves led us to a second-floor room, gun drawn, checking corners like she expected someone to jump out. The room smelled like cigarettes and bleach. 2 beds with stained comforters. A bathroom with a lock that didn't work. This is it? I asked. It's off the books. No reservation. Cash only. No one knows we're here. Reeves pulled the curtains shut. You'll stay put until I can figure out who's compromised and who's not. How long will that take? Jamie asked. He was still shaking, still pale from watching his father get shot. I don't know. That's not good enough, I said. Reeves turned to me, eyes flashing. Mrs. Chen, in the last 3 hours, I've discovered that a criminal organization has infiltrated federal law enforcement. One of my own agents just tried to kill you. Your son is in surgery with a bullet wound, and I'm running out of people I can trust. So no, I don't have a timeline. I have a mess, and I'm trying to keep you alive while I clean it up. The words hung in the air. Jamie sat down on the bed, hugging himself. I wanted to comfort him, but I didn't know how. How do you comfort a child when you're terrified yourself? Reeves's phone buzzed. She looked at it and her face tightened. I have to go. What? You can't leave us here. There's an agent outside, Agent Mitchell. He's been with the Bureau for 20 years. I trust him with my life. He won't let anyone near this room. She headed for the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. Not hotel staff, not police, not anyone. Understood? What about Marcus? I asked. How is he? Out of surgery. Stable. I'll know more in a few hours. She paused at the door. Mrs. Chen, I need you to understand something. The people your husband exposed, they have resources, money, power, connections everywhere. If they find you before I can build a case, they'll kill us. Yes. Jamie made a small, broken sound. Reeves looked at him, something like sympathy crossing her face. I won't let that happen, but you need to stay here, stay quiet, and trust me. Then she was gone. The door locked behind her. Jamie and I sat in silence. Outside, I could hear traffic, voices, normal city sounds, people going about their lives, not knowing that a few feet away, a grandmother and her grandson were hiding from killers. "Grandma," Jamie whispered, "I want to go home." "I know, baby. This is all my fault. If I hadn't told you to leave the dinner." "Stop." I grabbed his shoulders, forcing him to look at me. "None of this is your fault. You saved us. You were brave and smart, and you did exactly what Grandpa would have wanted. But Dad got shot. Because he tried to protect us. Because in the end, he chose us." My voice cracked. "Your father made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but he's trying to fix them. That takes courage." Jamie's eyes filled with tears. "What if he dies?" "He won't." "You don't know that." He was right. Again. I pulled him into a hug and let him cry. An hour passed. Then 2. Jamie eventually fell asleep, curled up on the bed, still wearing his shoes. I sat in the chair by the window, peeking through the curtains every few minutes. A man stood outside, suit and tie, earpiece, Agent Mitchell presumably. He looked solid, professional, but so had Agent Cole. My phone was gone, Reeves had taken it, said it could be traced, so I had no way to check on Marcus, no way to know if he was really okay or if that was another lie to keep me calm. I was alone with my thoughts, and my thoughts were dark. Henry's face kept appearing in my mind. His video, his bruises, his fear. They said next time, it wouldn't be me, it would be you. Had they kept that promise? Had they killed him to tie up loose ends? The thought made me sick. But another thought was worse. What if we'd given them the evidence for nothing? What if Agent Reeves couldn't build a case? What if the corruption went so deep that even the FBI couldn't stop it? Then Henry died for nothing. Marcus got shot for nothing. And we were hiding in a motel room waiting for a knock at the door. I shot to my feet, heart hammering. Jamie stirred. "Grandma?" "Shh, shh." Another knock. "Mrs. Chen? It's Agent Mitchell. Agent Reeves asked me to check on you." I crept to the door, looked through the peephole. Agent Mitchell stood there, same suit, same earpiece. He looked normal. "I'm fine," I called through the door. "Ma'am, I need you to open up, just for a second. Standard protocol." Something felt wrong. Agent Reeves said not to open the door for anyone. She radioed me 10 minutes ago, asked me to do a visual confirmation that you're both okay. I hesitated. "Mrs. Chen, I understand you're scared, but I'm here to protect you. Just open the door, let me see you're safe, and I'll leave you alone." His voice was kind, reassuring. Too reassuring. "Show me your badge," I said. A pause. Then he held it up to the peephole. FBI. Photo ID. Everything looked legitimate. But so had Agent Cole's. "Where's Agent Reeves right now?" I asked. "Following up on leads at the main office." "What's her first name?" Another pause. Longer this time. "Sarah. Agent Sarah Reeves." That was in Henry's video. Anyone could know that. "What was my husband's name?" I asked. "Henry Chen." "What did he do for a living?" "Ma'am, I don't have time for man." "Answer the question." A sigh. "He was an accountant. Look, I don't know what you're trying to—" "What firm did he work for?" Silence. Too long. "Ma'am, open the door. Now." The kindness was gone. His voice was flat, cold. "No. Mrs. Chen, I'm giving you one more chance." "Grandma?" Jamie was awake now, sitting up, eyes wide with fear. The door handle rattled. He was trying to get in. "Get in the bathroom," I whispered. "Now." "But—" "Now." Jamie ran. I followed, slamming the bathroom door and locking it. Outside, I heard the motel room door crash open. Footsteps. Heavy. Multiple people. "They're in the bathroom," a voice said. "Not Agent Mitchell. Someone else." "Break it down." "Wait. We make this look like a robbery. Quick and clean. No federal complications." My blood turned to ice. Jamie clutched my arm. "What do we do?" I looked around frantically. The bathroom was tiny. One small window above the toilet. Too small for me, but maybe. Jamie, the window. He looked up. I can't fit. You can. You have to. I climbed onto the toilet, yanked the window open. Cold air rushed in. Behind us, something heavy slammed into the bathroom door. Once, twice. The frame started to crack. Climb, I ordered. Not without you. Jamie, please. He looked at me with terrified eyes, then climbed up, wriggling through the window. For a horrible moment, he got stuck, and I pushed, shoved, forced him through. He tumbled out into the darkness. The bathroom door exploded inward. 2 men, guns drawn. I turned to face them. One was young, the other older, with cold eyes that had seen too much. Mrs. Chen, the older one said calmly. Where's the boy? I didn't answer. He aimed his gun at my head. I'll ask one more time. Outside, I heard Jamie running, his footsteps fading. Good. Run, baby. Run far and don't look back. He's gone, I said. The older man nodded to his partner. Find him. The younger one ran out. The older one stayed. Gun still pointed at me. You've caused a lot of trouble, Mrs. Chen. Good. He almost smiled. Brave. Stupid, but brave. Your husband was the same way. Did you kill him? Does it matter? Yes. He tilted his head, considering. Dr. Brennan gave him an injection, something that triggered a heart attack. Quick, painless. Henry didn't suffer. The words hit like a physical blow. They murdered him. They murdered my Henry. Why? My voice broke. He was just an accountant. He just wanted to do the right thing. That's why. The man lowered his gun slightly. The right thing. Noble, admirable, and incredibly dangerous for people like us. We couldn't risk him talking, couldn't risk the evidence getting out. Well, it's out now. Agent Reeves has everything. Agent Reeves is dead. The world stopped. What? Car accident. 20 minutes ago. Very tragic. She lost control on a wet road, crashed into a barrier. Car exploded. He said it so casually, like he was discussing the weather. And the evidence she had? Also gone. Burned up in the fire. No. No, that couldn't be. You're lying. Am I? He pulled out his phone, showed me a news article. Fresh. Just posted. FBI agent killed in fiery crash. There was a photo. Twisted metal. Flames. Agent Reeves's face in a file photo. She was the only one who believed Henry. The only one who cared. The man pocketed his phone. Now she's gone. Your son is in a hospital under guard our guard, and your grandson is running through a parking lot in the dark. How long do you think he'll last? I couldn't breathe. Everything we'd done, everything we'd sacrificed, for nothing. So here's what happens next, the man said. You're going to tell me where Henry hid the original evidence, not the copy you gave Reeves, the original. I know he kept backups. Men like Henry always do. I don't know what you're talking about. Mrs. Chen. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. He raised the gun again. Then you'll die. And then we'll find Jamie. And he'll die too. Is that what Henry would have wanted? Tears streamed down my face. No. God, no. But what choice did I have? If I told them, they'd kill us anyway. If I didn't tell them, they'd kill us anyway. We were going to die. The man's finger moved to the trigger, and the window exploded. Glass shattered. A gunshot rang out. The man stumbled backward, clutching his shoulder, blood blooming through his shirt. Through the broken window, I saw a figure, backlit by the streetlights. Agent Reeves. Alive. Bleeding from a head wound, half her face covered in soot, but alive. Get down! She shouted. I dropped. More gunshots. The man fired back. Reeves dove for cover. I scrambled out of the bathroom, into the motel room. The front door was open. The younger man was coming back, dragging. Jamie. Let him go, I screamed. The man swung his gun toward me. But Marcus appeared out of nowhere, hospital gown flapping, shoulder bandaged, and slammed into the man like a linebacker. They went down in a tangle of limbs. Jamie broke free, running to me. Behind us, Reeves climbed through the window, weapon drawn. FBI, drop your weapons. The older man turned, aiming at her. She fired first. He dropped. The younger man broke free from Marcus and ran. Reeves didn't chase him. She just stood there, breathing hard, bleeding, looking like she'd walked through hell. You're alive, I gasped. Barely. They rigged my car. I bailed out before it went over. She looked at Marcus. You should be in a hospital. Couldn't let them hurt my family. He could barely stand. Not again. Jamie crashed into him, hugging him despite the blood and bandages. Reeves pulled out her phone. I need backup. Real backup. People I know aren't dirty. She looked at me. This isn't over, Mrs. Chen. But we just bought ourselves time. How much time? Enough to disappear. Enough to build a real case. Enough to finish what Henry started. She made her call. And I held my grandson and my son. And for the first time in hours, I let myself believe we might actually survive this. They moved us before sunrise. Not to another motel, not to another FBI building, to a house in the middle of nowhere, 2 hours outside the city, down dirt roads that didn't show up on GPS. A real safe house this time. Armed guards, secure perimeter. Agent Reeves standing watch like a sentinel who refused to sleep. Marcus was in bad shape. The doctors at the secure medical facility had cleared him to travel, but just barely. His shoulder was wrapped tight, his face gray with pain. He spent most of the first day unconscious on the couch, pumped full of painkillers. Jamie and I watched him sleep. Is he going to be okay? Jamie whispered for the 100th time. Yes. I didn't know if I believed it, but I said it anyway. Agent Reeves had set up a command center in the dining room. Laptops, files, photos, pinned to a makeshift board. She worked 18-hour days, surviving on coffee and rage. On the 3rd day, she called me in. We've made arrests, she said without preamble. Daniel Morrison, Thomas Brennan, Dr. Richard Brennan, and 12 others, including 4 police officers, 2 judges, and 1 state senator. I sank into a chair. 12? That's just the first wave. As we dig deeper, we're finding more. Your husband documented a network that goes back 25 years, hundreds of transactions, dozens of people. What about Lisa? Reeves's expression hardened. She lawyered up, claiming she knew nothing. But we found emails, text messages. She knew Mrs. Chen. Maybe not at first, but for at least the last 2 years, she actively helped her father hide evidence. Does Marcus know? Not yet. I thought you might want to tell him. I closed my eyes. My son's wife, the mother of his child, a criminal. What happens to her? Depends on what she knows and whether she cooperates. Best case, immunity in exchange for testimony. Worst case, prison. And Jamie? He's a victim in all this. A witness. He'll need to testify eventually, but we'll protect him. What about Marcus? Reeves hesitated. Your son took money, provided information, helped cover up crimes. The U.S. attorney wants him charged. My heart stopped. He was threatened. They used his son as leverage. I know, and I'm arguing for immunity, but it's not my decision. She looked at me with tired, honest eyes. Mrs. Chen, I'll do everything I can, but the truth is, Marcus might face prison time. Not a lot, maybe a year or 2, but something. I couldn't breathe. My son, my baby, in prison. How do I tell him? Carefully. I waited until evening, until Jamie was asleep and Marcus was awake enough to understand. We sat on the back porch. The safe house overlooked a forest, dark trees against darker sky, peaceful in a way that felt unreal after everything we'd been through. The arrests are all over the news, Marcus said quietly. I saw it on the TV before Reeves shut it off. They're calling it the biggest financial crime bust in 20 years. Dad would be proud. Would he? Marcus looked at me. Or would he be ashamed that his son was part of it? You were a victim, Marcus. Was I? Or was I just a coward who chose comfort over conscience? I didn't know how to answer that. We sat in silence. Then Marcus said, "Lisa called." I turned sharply. "What?" "Through her lawyer." Reeves allowed it. 5 minutes, supervised. His voice was hollow. She cried, told me she loved me, begged me not to testify against her father. "What did you say?" I told her I was sorry, that I loved her too, and that I was going to tell the truth. He wiped his eyes. She hung up. Her lawyer called back 10 minutes later with divorce papers. "Oh, Marcus." "She's pregnant, Mom. Did I tell you that? 4 months. I'm going to have another child, and I'll never see them. Lisa's family will make sure of that. Even if they're in prison, they have money, lawyers, power. We'll fight them." "With what?" He laughed bitterly. "I'm broke, unemployed, about to be a convicted felon. What judge is going to give me custody?" I wanted to argue, to tell him it would be okay, but the words stuck in my throat. Because he was right. "Agent Reeves told me they want me charged," Marcus continued. "Conspiracy, money laundering, obstruction of justice. She said maybe I'll get a light sentence. A year, maybe 2 if the judge is feeling generous." "Marcus, Jamie will be 14 when I get out, 15 if it's longer. I'll miss his entire adolescence, his first girlfriend, his high school graduation." His voice broke. "All the things Dad missed with me because he was working. Except I won't be working. I'll be in a cell, because I was too scared to do the right thing. You did the right thing in the end. Too late. Years too late." He stood, wincing at the pain in his shoulder. "You should get some sleep, Mom. Long day tomorrow. More depositions, more lawyers, more consequences." He walked inside, leaving me alone on the porch. And I cried. For my son, for my husband, for everything we'd lost and everything we'd never get back. The investigation took 72 days. 72 days of interviews, depositions, testimonies, lawyers and federal prosecutors, and endless questions about things I barely understood. Jamie had nightmares every night, woke up screaming about men with guns, about his father bleeding, about his mother Lisa, who he'd loved and trusted, turning into a stranger. Marcus got quieter, thinner. He spent hours staring at nothing, lost in guilt and regret. And me? I held them together, cooked meals, forced smiles, pretended I wasn't falling apart. On day 73, Agent Reeves called us into the dining room. "It's over," she said. We stared at her. The U.S. Attorney has accepted plea deals from 17 defendants. Daniel Morrison is facing 40 years, Thomas Brennan, 30. Dr. Brennan, 25 for his role in Henry's death. Henry's death. Murder. Finally called what it was. "What about Marcus?" I asked. Reeves looked at my son. "The U.S. Attorney has agreed to probation. 2 years supervised release, community service, no prison time." Marcus's legs gave out. He sat down hard, covering his face with his hands. "What?" he gasped. "Why?" "Because you cooperated fully. Because you risked your life to protect your family. And because I spent 2 months arguing that you were a victim of coercion, not a willing participant." Reeves almost smiled. "Don't make me regret going to bat for you." "I won't. I swear I won't." "What about Lisa?" Jamie asked quietly. Reeves's expression softened. "She took a deal, testified against her father. She'll serve 18 months minimum security, out in 12 with good behavior." "And the baby?" "Her mother will take custody until Lisa's released." Jamie nodded slowly. Processing. He'd lost his mother, not to death, but to prison, to choices she'd made. Some losses don't have funerals. "You're free to go home," Reeves said. "All of you. We'll maintain periodic check-ins, and you'll need to testify at trial. But the immediate danger is over." Home. I'd almost forgotten what that word meant. We went back to the city on a gray morning in March. Agent Reeves drove us personally, pulled up in front of my apartment building, and helped unload our bags, the few things we'd been allowed to keep during the investigation. "Thank you," I told her, "for everything." She shook my hand. "Thank your husband. He's the one who documented everything. I just finished what he started. He'd be grateful. He'd be proud of you. All of you. She looked at Marcus. Stay out of trouble, Mr. Chen. Yes, ma'am. She drove away. We stood on the sidewalk, staring up at my building. It looked exactly the same, like the world hadn't ended and rebuilt itself in the time we'd been gone. What now? Jamie asked. Now we figure out how to live again, I said. It wasn't easy. Marcus couldn't find work. His name was all over the news. Even though he'd been given immunity, people remembered the headlines, son of whistleblower implicated in financial crimes. No one cared about the full story. He moved in with me, slept on my couch, spent his days doing community service and his nights trying to be present for Jamie, who was struggling in ways none of us knew how to address. School was hard, kids whispered. Teachers looked at him with pity. His mother was in prison. His father was a felon, even if technically he wasn't. Some scars don't show up on bodies. But slowly, painfully slowly, we healed. Marcus got a job, warehouse work, manual labor. Nothing like the corporate position he'd had before, but honest work that paid enough to help with rent. Jamie joined the basketball team, made a friend, then two, started smiling again, though it never quite reached his eyes the way it used to. And me? I visited Henry's grave every Sunday, told him about the arrests, about Marcus and Jamie, about how we'd finished what he'd started. On the 6-month anniversary of the first arrests, I brought flowers and sat on the grass beside his headstone. We did it, I whispered. It cost everything, but we did it. The wind rustled through the trees, and for a moment I swear I felt him there, proud, at peace. Finally, 1 year later, on a warm Saturday in June, something unexpected happened. Marcus came home from work with an envelope. What's this? I asked. Open it. Inside was a check, a big check, more money than I'd seen in my entire life. What? Where did this come from? Restitution fund, Marcus explained, grinning for the first time in months. The government seized assets from Morrison's accounts. They're distributing it to victims and whistleblower families. Dad's estate qualified. So did we, technically, since I was coerced. I stared at the number. Enough to pay off debts, to send Jamie to college, to give Marcus a fresh start. Henry, I breathed. Even dead, you're still taking care of us. That night, we ordered pizza, sat around my tiny kitchen table, laughed at stupid jokes Jamie told. It felt almost normal, almost like a family again. I have an idea, Marcus said suddenly, for what to do with some of that money. What? A foundation, in Dad's name, for people who want to blow the whistle on corruption but are too scared. Legal fees, protection, support. He looked at me. What do you think? I thought about Henry, about his fear, his courage, his sacrifice. I think he'd love that. Jamie raised his soda can. To Grandpa, the bravest person I ever knew. Marcus raised his beer. To Dad. I raised my water glass. To Henry, who taught us that doing the right thing costs, but doing nothing costs more. We clinked glasses. And in that moment, surrounded by the wreckage of everything we'd lost, I felt something I hadn't felt in over a year. Hope. The threatening letter arrived on a Tuesday. I was making breakfast eggs and toast, nothing fancy when I heard the mail slot clank. Jamie was at school, Marcus was at work, just me and the morning quiet. I walked to the door and picked up the small stack of mail. Bills, junk, and one envelope with no return address. My hands started shaking before I even opened it. Inside, a single photograph. Daniel Morrison, in prison, orange jumpsuit, cold eyes staring directly at the camera. And on the back, 2 words written in neat handwriting. He's watching. I dropped it like it had burned me. For a long moment, I just stood there, staring at it on the floor. Then I picked it up, walked to the kitchen, and burned it in the sink. Watched the edges curl and blacken, watched Daniel's face disappear into ash. They wanted me scared. Wanted me to know that even behind bars, they had reach, power, the ability to send messages. But I was done being scared. I washed the ashes down the drain and finished making breakfast. When Marcus came home that evening, I didn't tell him. When Jamie asked how my day was, I smiled and said, "Quiet. Some battles aren't worth fighting twice. Some threats are just noise." 6 months passed. No more letters, no more threats. Just life. Normal, ordinary, beautiful life. Marcus saved enough money to rent a small apartment 3 blocks away. Nothing fancy. 1 bedroom, a cramped kitchen. But it was his. Independence he'd earned through sweat and humility. Jamie grew 3 inches, started high school, joined the debate team, and discovered he was good at arguing, a skill he'd learned, I suspected, from watching his family fight for truth. And me? I finally opened the second envelope. The one from Henry's safe. The one I'd been too scared to touch, too afraid of what final words my husband might have left me. It was late at night. Marcus and Jamie had gone home. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. I sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Henry and I had shared 30 years of meals, and carefully opened the sealed envelope. Inside, a letter, several pages. Henry's handwriting, shaky but deliberate. "My dearest Eleanor, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And if you've opened the safe, then you know everything. You know what I did, what I witnessed, what I was too afraid to stop. I'm sorry. God, Eleanor, I'm so sorry. I was a coward. For 20 years, I watched evil men do evil things, and I documented it instead of stopping it. I told myself I was protecting you, protecting Marcus. But the truth is, I was protecting myself, my comfort, my safety. It wasn't until they threatened you, until they made it clear that my silence had a price, and that price was the people I loved, that I understood. Silence isn't protection, it's complicity. By the time I decided to act, it was too late. They were watching, following. I knew if I went to the FBI, they'd retaliate. So I did the only thing I could think of. I created insurance. Evidence. A record of their crimes so detailed and complete that even my death couldn't erase it. I'm leaving it to you, Eleanor. Not because I want to burden you, but because you're stronger than you've ever believed. Stronger than me. Braver than I ever was. You raised Marcus to be honest, to stand up for what's right. Somewhere along the way, he lost that. But I have faith that when it matters most, he'll remember the lessons you taught him. That he'll choose courage over comfort. And if he doesn't, you will. You'll do what I couldn't. I wish I could be there to help you, to stand beside you when the fight gets hard. But I can't. All I can leave you is this, the truth, the evidence. And the knowledge that you were the best part of my life. Every moment with you was a gift I never deserved. Teach Jamie what you taught Marcus. Teach him that doing the right thing costs, that it hurts, that sometimes you lose everything. But teach him also that doing nothing costs more. I love you, Eleanor. I loved you from the moment I met you until the moment I stopped breathing. And if there's anything after this life, I'll love you there too. You were always braver than me. Now go prove it. Forever yours, Henry. The letter blurred as tears filled my eyes. I read it again, and again, and again, until I had every word memorized, until I could hear his voice saying them. Henry, my Henry, who'd spent his final months in fear, who'd died protecting a secret he hoped I'd be strong enough to expose. He'd believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And he'd been right. I folded the letter carefully, placed it in a small wooden box on my shelf, next to photos of our wedding, of Marcus as a baby, of Jamie's first birthday, memories of the life we'd built, the family we'd created, the love that had survived even death. On what would have been Henry's 70th birthday, I did something I'd been planning for months. I drove to the cemetery. Jamie and Marcus came with me. We stood at Henry's grave, simple gray stone, his name and dates, nothing fancy, and I pulled out the letter. "Grandpa left this for me," I told Jamie. "I want to read it to you." Marcus looked surprised. "Mom, are you sure?" He would want Jamie to hear it. So I read it. Every word, my voice shaking but steady enough. When I finished, Jamie was crying. Marcus, too. He really believed we'd do the right thing, Jamie whispered. He did. Even when we messed up. Even when Dad, he looked at Marcus. Even when we made mistakes. Especially then. I squeezed his shoulder. Your grandfather understood that people aren't perfect, that we fail and fall and make terrible choices. But what matters is whether we get back up, whether we try to fix what we broke. Marcus knelt by the grave, running his fingers over Henry's name. I'm sorry, Dad, for everything. I'm trying to be better, I promise, I'm trying. The wind rustled through the trees. And I felt again that sense of peace, of Henry's presence, of his approval. We stayed for an hour, told stories, laughed at old memories. Jamie shared things about school honors classes, debate tournaments, dreams of becoming a lawyer. A lawyer? I asked, surprised. Yeah, to help people like us, families who get caught up in bad situations and need someone to fight for them. He looked at Henry's grave. Grandpa documented everything because no one else would. I want to be the person who takes those documents and actually does something with them. Marcus's eyes filled with fresh tears. Your grandfather would be so proud. What about you, Dad? Are you proud? Marcus looked at his son, this brave, brilliant boy who'd survived trauma and come out stronger, more than I can ever say. We left flowers, white roses, Henry's favorite. And as we walked back to the car, Jamie asked, Grandma, do you think Grandpa knew that it would work out? I don't know if he knew, but he hoped. And hope was enough. The Henry Chen Foundation launched 6 months later. Small at first. A website, a phone number, a few $1,000s in seed money from the restitution fund. But word spread. Whistleblowers started calling. People who'd witnessed corruption, fraud, abuse. People who wanted to do the right thing but were terrified of retaliation. We helped them. Legal fees, security, relocation assistance if needed, protection. Marcus ran it, poured his heart into it, turned his guilt into purpose. Jamie volunteered, answered phones after school, filed documents, listened to people's stories with the empathy of someone who understood. And me? I became the face, the grandmother who'd taken on a criminal empire and won, the woman who'd refused to be silenced. I gave talks, small ones at first, community centers, libraries, but then bigger, universities, conferences. I told Henry's story, our story, the cost of truth and the price of silence. And people listened. On the Foundation's 1-year anniversary, we held a small celebration. Just staff and volunteers, pizza and cake, in a cramped office that Henry would have loved. Agent Reeves came. She'd retired from the FBI, but she kept in touch, checked on us, made sure we were safe. You did good, Mrs. Chen, she said, raising a paper cup of soda. Henry would be proud. We all did good, I corrected. None of us could have done it alone. Marcus stood, clearing his throat. I want to say something, if that's okay. Everyone quieted. A year ago, I was the worst version of myself, compromised, corrupt, willing to sell out my own family for safety. His voice shook. My father died because people like me stay silent, because we choose comfort over courage. He looked at me, at Jamie, at Agent Reeves. But my mother taught me something. She taught me that it's never too late to choose differently, to stand up, to fight back. He raised his cup. To Henry Chen, who died protecting the truth, and to Eleanor Chen, who lived to finish the fight. To Henry and Eleanor, everyone echoed. I felt tears on my face. Happy tears this time. Because we'd done it. We'd taken Henry's evidence, his sacrifice, his hope, and turned it into something lasting, something good. A legacy worth leaving. That night, alone in my apartment, I opened the wooden box again. Pulled out Henry's letter. Read it one more time. You were always braver than me. Now go prove it. I did, I whispered to the empty room. I proved it, Henry. We all did. I placed the letter back in the box. Next to it, I added something new. A photo from today's celebration. Marcus and Jamie laughing, Agent Reeves smiling, the Foundation logo on the wall behind them. Proof that tragedy could become purpose, that pain could become power, that one man's final act of courage could ripple outward, changing lives, saving families, inspiring hope. I closed the box. And for the first time since Henry died, I felt complete. Not healed, not whole. Grief doesn't work that way. But complete. Like I'd fulfilled a promise, honored a legacy, finished what we'd started together. The inheritance Henry left wasn't money or property. It was a choice. The choice to fight when fighting seemed impossible, to speak when silence was safer, to stand when standing meant losing everything. And I'd made that choice. So had Marcus. So had Jamie. We'd chosen courage. And that more than any evidence, any arrest, any victory, was the real inheritance. The only one worth leaving behind.